Hello ladies and gentlemen, and welcome to the premier event of the Yagadome Combat Wrestling Invitational. Today's tournament will determine the Yagadome 175-pound champion. I'm your host Ryan Ford, and today's event is taking place at Kulikov Grappling Academy in Hewitt, New Jersey. 6 grapplers have traveled to be here today to attempt to leave with the 175-pound belt, and if you've never seen a combat wrestling event before, you're in for a great show. We also have 3 submission-only super fights scheduled today as well. Here we see head referee Vlad Kulikov going over the rules with today's competitors, so I'll take this opportunity to break down the rules for our viewers at home. Each match has a duration of 5 minutes. I'll explain the overtime rules momentarily. Athletes can win via points, submission, or disqualification. The ref's whistle starts and stops the action, and competitors are identified by red or blue apparel. Athletes can win via submission. They can win via a technical victory, which is when one athlete gets 12 points ahead of his opponent at any time during the match. And finally, they can win via majority points after time has expired. Now let's take a look at how points are scored. For throws and takedowns, a 1-point score is awarded for takedowns or throws that do not lift the opponent above the hips of the attacking wrestler and land him either on his belly or on his butt. A 2-point score is awarded for throws or takedowns that do not lift the opponent above the hips of the attacking wrestler and land him on his side, be it the hips, shoulder, or ribs. And a 4-point score is awarded for throws or takedowns that land the opponent directly on his back, whether above the hip line or not, or any takedown or throw that lifts the opponent off the mat above the hip lines and lands them in a valid landing position. It's important to note that takedowns that land on the hands, knees, or elbows are not valid and not scored. If a wrestler jumps to guard, it will count as a takedown for their opponent. Throws and takedowns must have continuous motion to be scored, and takedowns or throws initiated inbounds but land out of bounds will still be scored. When it comes to illegal takedowns, no spiking of an opponent on their head will be allowed, no throws against a joint, and no slamming is allowed, which is defined as specific intent of using the ground as a tool for impact. As far as positional points go, a 1-point score will be awarded for the mount position held for 3 seconds, and a 1-point score will also be awarded for a back mount position. 2 hooks must be in place and it must be held and controlled for 3 seconds. It's important to note that in combat wrestling, position points can only be scored once per match, per wrestler, per position. Wrestlers can also score points for securing a successful pin. A 1-point score will be awarded for pins that last 10 to 19 seconds. 2 points will be awarded if the pin lasts 20 to 29 seconds, and a 4-point score will be awarded for a full 30-second pin. It's important to note that a maximum of 4 pinning points per wrestler per match is allowed, and to be very clear, a pin does not end the match. A valid pin is recognized when a wrestler has pinned the other on the mat with torso-to-torso control that is past the guard and free of leg entanglement. Chest-to-back control is allowed as well if the attacker is not being threatened by a submission. A pin is broken when the bottom wrestler's shoulders are tilted past a 90-degree angle to the mat. When it comes to submissions, chokes, joint locks, and leg locks are permitted except for the following: no heel hooks, no cervical or spine locks, no small joint manipulation, which means fingers, toes, or wrists, no standing submissions. You can start a submission standing, but you must finish it on the ground, and no head scissors. It's also important to note that submissions are broken if the defender stands up and lifts the opponent off of the mat. If the opponent stands in base while defending a leg lock, this breaks the submission as well. As far as overtime rules go, if there's an even score at the end of the match, the following criteria will be used to determine a winner. The first step is the wrestler with the least amount of cautions wins. If both wrestlers have an even amount of cautions, or if neither has any cautions, the wrestler with the highest scoring takedown will win. If the takedown scores are also even, 2 3-minute extensions in time will be permitted with sudden death rules. The first wrestler to score 2 or more points wins. And after the 2 3-minute extensions, if there's still no clear winner, the judges will pick a winner based on activity and attempts to finish. A caution is a sanction by the judges delivered to wrestlers for a foul or for non-combativity. Cautions will be indicated on the scoreboard with the yellow and orange circle under the wrestler's name. Fouls include use of the closed guard position, any attempt of a banned submission or takedown, or any unsportsmanlike conduct. Non-combativity is defined as failing to engage from standing or ground, continuously retreating out of bounds, not making active forward progression during a takedown or submission attempt, breaking a clinch without a follow-up or counterattack, or fleeing the mat to escape a submission. And that sums up the rule set. We're getting ready to kick things off here. Our opening match is going to be a matchup between Wyse-a-Techie and Steve Ramos. Both of these guys from the Northeast. Let's take a moment and introduce you to these two athletes.
My name is Steve Ramos, and I'm from Nyack, New York. The team I represent is essentially Jiu-Jitsu in Hartsdale, New York. I'm Professor JT Torres. I've been training Jiu-Jitsu 3 years. I started wrestling when I was 12, and I wrestled in college. I would describe my style as a complete grappler, from the feet to the ground, all around. What excites me most about the combat wrestling rule set is that it's different. I like to branch out, and I find that every time I compete under a new style with new rules, it changes my game, and I look forward to improving my game under this new rule set.
Hi, my name is Wyse-a-Techie. I'm out of Colchester, Connecticut. I train at Strike Zone MMA in Norwich, Connecticut. I've been training Jiu-Jitsu for about 7 years. I'm a brown belt. I just started wrestling over last year when I joined Strike Zone. I have a little bit of catch wrestling and a little bit of sambo experience. I'm not here to play on points. I'm here to finish and go for the win. It's very wrestling focused. There's going to be a fast pace. There's not going to be a lot of slow stalling. There's no butt scooting, nothing like that. It's going to be people going out and going for the win. It's going to be good.
All right, and this match is underway already. Ramos immediately with a double leg takedown. Nicely done. 4 points on the board early on. Looking for a knee slice. He's already got the underhook. Looking to work his way through to the pass, and he gets through. Wyse-a-Techie threatening with a bridge, but Ramos using a really good base to maintain this position. He's going to hang out here to collect some pinpoints. If he can hold this for 30 seconds, he'll be 8 points on the board early on. Ramos, an experienced wrestler. He's been wrestling for over 10 years. Also wrestled in college. He's also been doing Brazilian Jiu-Jitsu for 3 years. He's a purple belt. Wyse-a-Techie, 2 years experience in catch wrestling, but also a BJJ brown belt with 7 years experience in Jiu-Jitsu. Ramos transitioning to the mount position, so he's going to get and now to the back. So he's got both hooks in. He won't get a positional point for the mount because it was very brief, but he did get the hooks in. So he's got 4 points on the board for the takedown, 4 for the pin, and then he's got a positional point as well for that back mount position. So he is 9 points ahead on the board very early on here. Wyse-a-Techie is going to have to really start putting his game together to either catch up on the board or look for a submission to close this out. Wyse-a-Techie prefers snap-down takedowns and leg scissors as his takedowns of choice. Steve Ramos looking for a single leg, and I was just going to say that he is known for his single leg takedowns and also his doubles. He likes to mix those together very well. Again, looking for that single is Ramos. Wyse-a-Techie, a East Coast Naga expert champion and also a New England Naga champion. Ramos, a UWW grappling world silver medalist at 77 kilograms. And Ramos again on a single leg, and I don't think that's going to score yet. That's not a score because it wasn't continuous motion, but he did accomplish the goal of getting the fight to the ground. Ramos now feeding in for a Bravo choke. Looks like he might look for a Peruvian necktie here. Wyse-a-Techie recognizes that, rolls through. Nice awareness there, but that Bravo choke is still in position here. Ramos could look to turn this into a guillotine or try to roll him over as he's doing here. He still has the Bravo grip. Wyse-a-Techie looks like he's trying to use his right hand to control the left ankle of Ramos to prevent him from going over to full mount or maybe try to recompose the guard. Yep, but that's going to be a choke anyways. Ramos able to keep the pressure on, hips sink in, and the choke finishes. Great performance by Steve Ramos. Wins his first match via submission, and he will move forward in the tournament. Our next match coming up is between Bill O'Brien and Brett Pastore, and we will take a moment to introduce you to these guys.
My name is Bill O'Brien. I'm from West Milford, New Jersey. I represent KGA. I've been training 9 years. I wrestled in high school and a little bit in college. My style, a little bit of wrestling and a lot of jiu-jitsu. I'm just going to go try to bring it, let it fly. Let my style flow and see what happens.
My name is Brett Pastore. I'm from Animals MMA in Yonkers, New York. I've been training my whole life. Wrestling, I've been wrestling forever. Jiu-jitsu, I've been doing for about 5 years. I'm a blue belt, and I recently started Sambo and catch wrestling. My style, I just constantly attack. I take whatever's there, and I move and I scramble. I love to scramble. I like the rule set because it promotes action. It's constant scrambles, constant attacking, not a lot of sitting around. So I like the action. I like to attack. That should be fun. I'm looking forward to it.
All right, and we are getting set to go here. Brett Pastore, Bill O'Brien. Pastore representing Animals MMA in Yonkers, New York. Billy O'Brien on his home turf today. He trains here at Sambo Fusion in Hewitt, New Jersey, under head referee Vlad Kulikov. Pastore uses a shuck there to get things to the ground, looking for a front headlock control. Brett Pastore, an accomplished MMA fighter, also an IBJJF New York Open champion and a Division II college wrestler. Bill O'Brien has 9 years worth of grappling experience between wrestling and Brazilian Jiu-Jitsu, coming up on his purple belt, 4-stripe blue belt. Pastore sits back to a guillotine. He's not going to be able to lock his feet from this position, so these guys are going to have to get a little creative with how they finish particular submissions, with the closed guard not being allowed. So these guys have gone out of bounds. They're going to get brought back to the center. Billy O'Brien teaches students with special needs, and he wants to start teaching Brazilian Jiu-Jitsu to special needs kids as well. Definitely a very honorable endeavor. Brett Pastore has been wrestling his whole life. Also a Jiu-Jitsu blue belt, training for 5 years, and recently started doing Sambo and catch wrestling. Brett Pastore's favorite takedown is the flying squirrel takedown, while Billy O'Brien prefers sweep singles. Pastore threatening a choke here, threatening to get the hook in. If he can get that left hook in, he'll get some positional points as well. O'Brien keeping that right leg high, turning to the turtle position, and preventing any submission or positional points. Great work there by O'Brien defensively. But he is going to pick up a caution for non-combativity. So Pastore now has a caution in his favor. O'Brien's going to have to be careful of breaking positions without following up or trying to reverse or fleeing the combat area. Pastore with a great takedown. That's going to be a 1-point score directly to the butt of O'Brien. So now Pastore is ahead by 1 with a caution in his favor. In on a single again and blasts straight through for another takedown. That's a 2-pointer. And he's looking to set up a knee slice here to finish out the pass. Might be looking to go straight to mount here, actually. And he does, so that's going to be a positional point. Threatening an arm triangle now. He's got a gable grip locked in. Actually, it looks like he's going to be going for a shoulder lock here. He's using the right side of his head to pin that shoulder in place, and there it is. Look at this. He's trying to finish an Americana shoulder lock. Oh, and the elbow just slips past the chin. That was a really creative attack there by Pastore. Not quite on the carotid arteries of O'Brien, so it doesn't look like there's too much of a threat of a choke here. He just completed his 4-point pin, so he is now 8 points up over O'Brien. O'Brien's going to have to really get to work here. Pastore now switching back to the arm triangle. We're going to look for him to cut that left leg across the left side of O'Brien's body and belly down to try to finish this thing.
8 points at this point.
And there he goes. Now going to be looking to walk the clock here. O'Brien defending the best he can, trying to keep his hips tight to Pastore's. Pastore remaining calm. He knows he's in a good place here. And they are going to get stood back up. Billy likes to use sweep single takedowns, so we'll look for him to try to set one of those up. Pastore, a former Division II college wrestler.
Get your grips back. You be first when you're making these grips.
A bit of a slip there by O'Brien. Pastore trying to shove him to get him off center.
Double wrist control, Billy.
Looking for a spin down. No score on the board, but he does bring him down to a hands and knee position. And now he has rotated him around to get to a scarf hold position, but they are out of bounds, so they're going to move back to the center.
37 seconds. You gotta get those grips back, Billy. Pop. Here you go. Roll it. Roll your wrist. Roll your wrist. Roll your wrist. Reset. Circle.
Pastore using a nice 2-on-1 control here. Let's see what he can do with this. And there he goes. So Pastore again using that shove once O'Brien slips, and it looks like it is going to get scored as a takedown. It did bring him down to his butt, and that's going to be time. Pastore with a 9-point lead wins this match, moves forward closer to gold. This is the MI Sports instant replay. He goes in for a single leg and turns it into a double. This was a really interesting submission attempt here. He's using the right ear against the outside of the elbow, using the C-grip on the wrist with the left hand, and he's using that as the fulcrum to complete the rotation on this Americana. The elbow just barely slips past his chin. Here we see that final score. O'Brien makes a bit of a slip. Pastore gives him a shove, puts him to his butt, and follows up, earning himself a 1-point takedown right at the end there. Great performance by Pastore, and he will now move forward. Next up, we have a super fight. We have 3 super fights scheduled for today. This next match is going to be between Nick Navarro and James Flaherty. So let's take a minute to introduce you to these guys.
My name is Nick Navarro, and I'm from Colchester, New York. I have been training for about 6-7 years. I've trained mostly jiu-jitsu, but I've mixed in a lot of catch wrestling in there as well. A lot of excitement. I always hunting for submissions, always trying new things, even in competition. So it's gonna be exciting. I'm gonna try some cool stuff.
My name is James Flaherty Jr. I'm from Color Cloth Grappling Academy. I've been training since 2014. I developed the style because of my short stockiness, half guard and deep half guard on top. I love the over-under pass. I love pressure passing. Other than that, yeah, that's basically my style. For me today, we're doing a sub only, so it's going to be a BJJ rule set. But I'm definitely excited to see the newer styles like the Sambo and the combat all blending together. It's definitely different, and I would like to see more people compete outside their comfort zone, so it's awesome to see something different.
All right, this is our first super fight of the day. Nick Navarro and James Flaherty Jr. Nick Navarro showing up in the Sakuraba mask. I love it. Excellent. Good stuff. This will be a submission-only match, so unlike the combat wrestling rules, heel hooks, pretty much open season on the legs. Flaherty Jr. immediately sitting down to half guard. That's his preferred position. Navarro threatening a cartwheel pass. Always fun to see big guys use aerial tactics. Works his way over to a front headlock. Nick Navarro, a jiu-jitsu and catch wrestling practitioner. James has 6 years worth of jiu-jitsu and grappling practice. Again with the cartwheel attempt there by Navarro. Flaherty prefers half guard and deep half guard, so we'll look to see him utilize that position to get to a dominant spot here. Navarro doing a good job of maintaining a solid base, pulling up on the right arm to prevent him from posting, and creating some space. Nice pin of the head there with the right hand. Keeping Flaherty in place so he can begin to work this, this knee slice attempt. Flaherty on home turf today. This is his academy, Sambo Fusion. He is one of head referee Vlad Kulikov's students. Nick Navarro out of Port Chester, New York, representing the Jiu-Jitsu Mill in Port Chester. He's a Fight to Win Pro champion. Also a two-time IBJJF Pan Am's bronze medalist. Flaherty looking to threaten a leg entanglement there and coming up on a single. And Navarro trying to use a running man escape. Keeping a nice post on the head to prevent James from advancing towards his hips. James now has a secured hand on the instep of Navarro's left foot to prevent him from running too far. And he succeeds in advancing forward closer to the hips now. This is a good spot for Flaherty if he can continue this progression. Navarro trying to use some butterfly guard here, trying to create a little distance. Threatening a Kimura. Back to butterfly, and Navarro stands to the front headlock now and walks right around the hip line, right to the back now, potentially. Let's see if he can get his hooks in to secure this back mount. That was a great transition by Navarro. And he does. He secures the back. And immediately goes right to the choke. And he gets it. That's a beautiful submission. Excellent transition there by Navarro to work his way to the back. And he wins the first super fight of the Yagadome Invitational. Nick Navarro representing Jiu-Jitsu Mill Port Chester. Let's take a look at the replay and see this transition he used to win this. Here we see him using that cartwheel pass attempt. Lands in sort of a weave position. Flaherty being active with his half guard, but again, Navarro passes right over it to the front headlock. Chooses to sit up from butterfly guard and take the front headlock again. This was a really important key to his victory today, was using that front headlock to get around the guard. And now he is transitioning to the back, as we're seeing here. Pummeling his left hand through to the chin, securing the position, bringing the hips forward, and getting a tap to win the match. Great match by both of these guys. We're now going to move into the third match of the combat wrestling tournament. This is going to be between Steven Ramos and Logan Santos. Let's take a moment to introduce you to Logan Santos.
My name is Logan Santos. I'm from Beaufort, Georgia. I train at Crane Mixed Martial Arts Academy. I've been doing Jiu-Jitsu about 7.5 years. I've won multiple IBJJF titles, won the Ultimate Grappler Qualifier multiple times. I placed second at Nogi Worlds. I placed second at the Jacksonville Invitational. This is my first time doing combat wrestling. I'm excited for the new experience, new really super good guys. Excited for just new rule set. People just expect lots of submission attempts and finishes.
All right, Steven Ramos versus Logan Santos. Santos representing Creighton Mixed Martial Arts in Atlanta, Georgia. Ramos representing Essential Jiu-Jitsu under JT Torres. Ramos early with a spin down takedown. 4 points on the board. Santos very comfortable in this position. He is a dangerous leg locker. He's very proficient with leg entanglements and also straight ankle locks in particular. Santos trying to pummel the feet to the inside and keep them there. Throws the leg to the outside, looking to set up a knee bar. That is a deep knee bar. Ramos with a foot on the tailbone, and he's able to clear the knee line. That was a great attempt by Logan and great defense by Ramos. Ramos now using head control here to prevent Santos from getting back underneath. Pinning the wrist to the mat. Heavy crossface. Santos, a silver medalist in the No-Gi Worlds at Blue Belt. Had a gigantic division not long ago and lost only in the final match by a couple points to none other than the son of Andre Govao. He's also an Ultimate Grappler qualifier. Multiple-time IBJJF winner. Also has some very dangerous guillotines. His first time doing combat wrestling. Great single leg takedown by Ramos. That's going to get him a 1-point score, so he is now 5 points on the board ahead. Logan Santos began competing and training when he was only 12 years old. Steven Ramos, 10+ years wrestling experience. Also a collegiate wrestler. These guys keep... Ramos looking to keep the pressure forward on Santos. Santos tries to chuck him over, and Ramos takes advantage, gets a 4-point takedown. He's now 9 points ahead on the board. If he can get 3 more points, he will win via a technical victory. So 1 more 4-point takedown, and this will be a technical victory for Ramos. Ramos going in for a single. Huge Haraya Goshi. Beautiful takedown. And that is going to be another 4-point score, putting him 13 ahead for a technical victory. Great performance by Ramos. Great attack in the beginning with the leg lock by Santos as well. Ramos able to weather the storm and come back with a technical victory. Great match between these guys. Let's look at this again. This is your MI Sports instant replay. Logan Santos transitioning to the knee bar position. This was a great entry, and he had a really deep bite as well, and he's getting some good hyperextension on the knee there. Ramos able to early on get that heel in the tailbone. Oh my God, there's a lot of hyperextension on the knee. This was a very dangerous position, but Ramos was able to remain composed and slip past that knee line, turning his knee to the outside, securing the head of Santos and passing. And then from there, it was just a takedown clinic. Ramos was able to really put down some great takedowns and work his way towards a technical victory over the young, dangerous leg locker in Logan Santos. Here we see another 4-point score. This was when he was 3 points away. He needed 1 more 4-point takedown. He threatens a single leg here. Logan Santos steps out to the side. There's a bit of a T angle there. Ramos recognizes it, steps across, and throws for a beautiful hip toss. And that's going to be a 4-point score, putting him 13-0. Some great action in that match. Ramos moving forward with a technical victory. We're now going to move forward to the next match. It's going to be between Craig Childs and Billy O'Brien. Let's take a moment to introduce you to Craig Childs.
My name is Craig Childs from St. Louis, Missouri. I represent Gracie Umada, St. Louis. I've been training Jiu-Jitsu for 3 years. Wrestling, I've wrestled for 11 years, 3-time All-American, 2-time national finalist. My style is fast, explosive, and opportunistic. I'm most excited about good takedowns to a fast finish. It fits well with my style.
All right, we got Craig Childs coming in, 3-time All-American. Very experienced wrestler, 2-time national finalist, and also a 2016 Combat Wrestling World Champion, scoring early with a takedown early on. That's a 4-pointer. And we just see, God, look at the way this guy moves. That is an elite level wrestler that we're watching right here. Transitioning himself to a Kimura setup. Beautiful transition between wrestling and jiu-jitsu. Craig Childs also a purple belt in Brazilian jiu-jitsu. Working his way over towards an armbar, transitioning to the back now. He is just all over O'Brien at this point. He's got some positional points, and it looks like O'Brien is cut over the nose. So we're going to take a moment here to pause and give him a moment to stop the bleeding. Doesn't look like anything too serious. Let's take a look at how that happened. It looks like it was when Childs was coming around with the chin strap here, or attempting the chin strap, and that little impact right there, I believe his chin hit O'Brien's nose. So as you can see, he's already starting to bleed right here. So we'll give him just a few minutes here to patch this up. Again, thankfully nothing too serious. Looks like it was just maybe the tip of Childs' chin that made a little impact with the bridge of the nose when he was coming around with that chin, attempting to secure that chin strap. There was a bit of impact onto the mat. Looks like O'Brien's head bounced up a little bit into the chin. All right, looks like we are good to go. So far, Childs ahead 5 points, displaying some really sharp wrestling technique. O'Brien taking a shot there. Childs sprawling, applying a front headlock here. Childs well-versed in Brazilian Jiu-Jitsu as well, very savvy with submissions, looking for a guillotine. It's hard to tell from this vantage point whether or not the hands are connected. O'Brien doing a good job turning back into him to prevent the execution of that move, of that submission. Brian trying to use a snap down to a single. Gets rotated over. That was a really nice rotation there by Childs. No point scored for that. He's back to that north-south Kimura again. This is a position that that Childs is very comfortable with, and he rips it across and finishes. Beautiful finish on the Kimura. Excellent wrestling, and just a really nice fusion between wrestling and jiu-jitsu displayed there by Craig Childs. And he's going to move forward towards the gold medal. Let's take a look at that again. The MI Sports instant replay. Beautiful blast double to kick things off by Craig Childs. Head right to the center of the chest, driving straight forward, scoring 4 points on the board early on. Here we see O'Brien coming up on an attempted single. Childs getting a good grip on the back of the elbow there and shutting down the hips with the opposite arm. And this was the beginning of the end because this chained right into a beautiful north-south Kimura position. This is something that Childs attempted earlier, and this time he gets that separation of the hands, follows through, drops the hips right on O'Brien's chest to keep him in place, and there's just nowhere to go. Beautiful submission and just a beautiful fusion there of wrestling and jiu-jitsu. We're now going to move into our second super fight of the day. Let's take a moment to introduce you to these guys.
My name is Jamie Nottingham, and I'm from Danbury, Connecticut, and I train out of the Jiu-Jitsu Mill in Port Chester, New York. I've been training Jiu-Jitsu for about 2 years, but I've been doing submission grappling for about 6 years. I like to do a lot of fast, surprising movements and just a lot of really different things. Hopefully we're going to see a nice rear naked choke, hopefully some leg locks, and some great takedowns.
My name is David Giuliano. I'm from Fairfield, New Jersey. I represent Team K Dojo. I've been training for about 15 years now, 16 years. My style is extremely technical. People can expect from me today to win via submission.
All right, we are set to go for our second super fight of the day. This is a 10-minute submission-only match. Got David the Cobra Giuliano representing K Dojo in New Jersey. Jamie Nottingham representing Jiu-Jitsu Mill out of New York. Nottingham looking for a single leg. Giuliano responding with a front headlock. Nottingham trying to pinch the leg between the knees. Giuliano doing a good job of pummeling the leg to the outside, and Giuliano's got a pretty deep bite on the neck here. Yeah, he's getting good rotation. That's deep underneath the chin. He's bringing his hips forward. Nottingham's heels are leaving the ground. This is a really tight choke attempt here. Let's see if he can complete this choke. Nottingham gets to the front turtle. They're out of bounds. They will move to the center. Great attack there by Giuliano and good defensive work by Nottingham. Nottingham looking for a 2-on-1 control on the right arm of Giuliano. Threatening for a guillotine potentially there. This guy's pummeling for position. Nottingham looking to generate some momentum and gets a spin down to bring it to the floor. Giuliano working to prevent the pass. And slips up a good triangle guard here. Let's see what he can do with this. Nottingham slips his head free. Giuliano to the triangle guard again. Nottingham is going to staple that leg to the ground now for a knee slice. Actually, he's going to sit straight back on an ankle lock. So we are now in a leg entanglement here. Let's see where this goes. It looks like Giuliano might be responding with an Estima lock. It's kind of hard to see from here. Giuliano trying to dig to expose the heel of Nottingham. Nottingham staying tight on the straight ankle. He's got outside ashi here. Giuliano rolling through, trying to go belly down for something. Nottingham now going belly down himself to try to finish. Giuliano thinking about a toe hold there. Back to outside ashi, threatening the inside heel hook. Nottingham keeping his legs kicked out straight to prevent that. Rolling through, potential calf slicer. Back to the heel hook again. Giuliano threatening with a toe hold with the crotch. Nottingham back to an inside heel hook again. Giuliano threatening a toe hold. Man, these guys are back and forth in this leg entanglement. Great reversals and attacks from both these guys. Giuliano, I think, is still on that toe hold. Now it slips, looking for a straight ankle lock, maybe. Giuliano, both knees on the ground, transitions to the back. Beautiful timing on the back take by Nottingham. And Nottingham has a deep frame around the chin of Giuliano now. Giuliano defending, trying to fight the hands. Nottingham re-entering with the arm, getting a body triangle. This is one of Nottingham's preferred positions. He likes to work from the back. The rear naked choke is his favorite submission, he says. And that's going to be a submission. Great match by both these guys. That was incredible action back and forth in that leg entanglement. Let's take a look at some of that action again. Here we see Nottingham shooting in for a single. Giuliano responding with an excellent guillotine choke. Very close with this guillotine finish. He had Nottingham up off of his heels. Nottingham able to drop his weight and get to a front turtle to defend a little better, going out of bounds in the process. Here we see Nottingham using a spin down to get this to the ground. Once there, Giuliano looks for a triangle. These guys end up in a leg entanglement. Here we see just back and forth with attacks and reversals and escapes. Nottingham here looking for the straight ankle lock from outside Ashi. Here we see Giuliano trying to collect the legs to threaten something of his own. Nottingham rolling through with what could have been a calf slicer. He opts to threaten for the outside heel hook instead. Giuliano notices the toes are still inside the crotch there. He tries to pull the heel to get a toe hold finish. Nottingham re-attacking the heel hook. Giuliano re-attacking the toe hold. These guys both showed some great awareness and proficiency in this leg entanglement battle. Here we see Giuliano still attacking the toe hold. Nottingham able to get up to his base, and this is the transition right here that won the match for Nottingham. He was able to get to the back, threw the left leg over, got his first hook in, applies the rear naked choke position. Giuliano trying to fight the hands, but it's just a little too late. Nottingham gets the body triangle, thrusts the hips forward, and that is going to be a choke finish for Jamie Nottingham. Great match by both of these guys. Jamie Nottingham, your winner via rear naked choke submission. We're now going to move back into the main tournament. We have a match between Alex Wyse-a-Techie and Logan Santos. Santos in blue, Wyse-a-Techie sporting the red attire. Both these guys, jiu-jitsu based guys. Logan Santos a purple belt, Wyse-a-Techie a brown belt. Wyse-a-Techie attempting a scissor takedown. Logan Santos a little quick, stays out of the way. Wyse-a-Techie with a nice bridge, reversing position. Santos active with his guard. Throwing up the triangle guard, Wyse-a-Techie swimming his hand through. Sits back on a ankle lock attempt. Logan Santos, I can personally attest, as he's a training partner of mine, has very dangerous ankle locks, and there it is, just like that. Logan Santos sinks in a fast ankle lock submission and gets the victory. Let's take a look at it again. Wyse-a-Techie sits back. He has a good entry here, but Logan stands up in a strong base, maintains his balance, kicks the leg straight, puts on the boot, isolates the left leg of Wyse-a-Techie. Feeds back over to the right and applies a quick ankle lock submission. Winner by submission, Logan Santos. All right, we have now reached the semifinal round. Brett Pastore, Craig Childs. The winner here will take on Steven Ramos for the title. Childs, three-time All-American. Pastore, lifetime wrestler. Nice move by Childs. That off of a Russian tie, that was really nice. Spins right into a double leg and gets a 1-point score on the board. Very slick move by Childs. Pastore looking for a takedown of his own. Childs stuffs it. Looks for his own single leg. Pastore bails to turtle. Childs barring the arm on the right side, now using a body lock. Threatening a choke. Could also be looking for a seatbelt position to take the back. Childs looks like he's trying to find the space to insert a knee or a foot to take the back. Pastore defending well. Back to the feet. Childs with a nice shot. Pastore with a good sprawl. Steps around to prevent the takedown from scoring. There wasn't continuous motion there, but Childs does end up in a dominant spot here. He has the first hook in. Let's see if he can insert the second. That is 2 hooks, and that's going to be a positional point. So he is now up 2-0. Looking for maybe a gift wrap control at the top. It's a little hard to see from right here if he has that wrist control or not. Looks like he does not. Trying to advance, looking to maybe take the back. Childs so far has shown just an elite level of wrestling throughout his campaign in this tournament so far. Pastore in on a shot, sprawl by Childs, front headlock applied. And for maybe a guillotine. Out of bounds, back to the center. A nice lateral drop by Pastore on the board, 4 points, and he just passed Childs on the board. If he can maintain the pin here, he'll be up 8-2. That was an incredible move by Pastore. Huge turnaround. Childs trying to recompose, trying to get that right knee underneath the hip. Pastore keeping it tight to the mat. This is huge for Pastore if he can maintain this position. He's got to keep Childs from going 90 degrees to the mat so he can get the pin, and that's it. He's got 8 points on the board. That was a full 30-second pin. What a turn of events here. Pastore turning it on. We're going to look to see Childs come out aggressively now to catch up. A few minutes left here in the semifinal match. Again, the winner here will face Steven Ramos for the title. Childs slips out to the back. He's already achieved positional points for the back before, so he won't get points for it if he gets to the back again, but he will obviously be in a dominant spot. Pastore defending well. Childs looking for deep underhooks, trying to swim under. Pastore retreating to the outside. He's got to be careful retreating to the outside like that because he could get cautioned. In fact, yeah, he's getting cautioned as we speak. So Pastore ahead on points, but does have a caution. So if Childs is able to tie the points on the board in the end, he will win because Pastore has a caution. Right now, though, that does not matter because Pastore has a significant lead at the moment. Looks like that's going to be another caution issued to Pastore, and that's going to earn a point for Childs. The more cautions you attempt after the first one, give a point to your opponent. So that puts Childs just another inch closer on the board. Pastore still with a great lead, though.
1 minute. Come on, Brett.
And Pastore moving up to a mounted triangle position here almost. If he can transition and get over to the mount, he'll earn himself a positional point and make up for the point that was lost to that second caution. Referee Vlad Kulikov setting him back to the middle, making sure the action is consistent. 40 seconds. If Pastore can hang tight here, he will defeat a 3-time All-American wrestler and move forward to a shot at the title. This is a huge, huge turn of events for Brett Pastore. Nice sprawl. Pastore securing front headlock, or front body lock rather. Childs looks like he might be feeding out to a Kimura on the right arm of Pastore. Almost rolls him with it. Pastore with a nice back step with the left leg prevents himself from getting swept, and he's now in a case of Gatami, but he's already gotten his pinpoints for the match. And that is time. Brett Pastore overcomes Craig Childs. Huge upset. Amazing win for Pastore. Pastore moves forward to the final. What a turn of events. Let's take a look at this again. Your MI Sports instant replay. You see Pastore goes for a Russian tie, and the second he commits to the arm, Childs spins and shoots in for a double leg. This was such a slick wrestling technique. Really, really well done. Getting himself on the board. Goes in for a shot here. Pastore ready for the sprawl. He stops the forward momentum, posts on the ground with his hand, and does a back step there to prevent from getting scored on. Childs stays committed, maintains the position, gets the hooks in order to get the positional points. And then this is where Brett Pastore came alive. He gets the overhook, he swims for the underhook, he steps in, and he executes a perfect lateral drop, pulling himself ahead on the scoreboard by 2. 2-4 at this point. Then he maintains top control for the rest of the match. Here he almost gets swept, does a nice back step to keep himself under control, keeps the knee out from underneath his hip, and wins this match, moving forward to the final. Now, before we go into the final match of the day, we have one more super fight. Let's take a moment to introduce you to these two athletes.
My name is Mike Raction. I'm fighting out of New York City, Renzo Gracie Academy, Manhattan. Been training for 5 years total right now, wrestling for my entire life. I always try to put on an exciting match, and that's the most important thing to me. There's only one true winner. There's no points, no BS. Only one man taps and it's over. That's what I love about it.
My name's Sergio Aviles. I'm from North Jersey Mixed Martial Arts in Jefferson, New Jersey. I've also been training for about 5 years now. I train jiu-jitsu and kickboxing. I'm a brown belt. My style on the feet, kind of more towards a judo style, and on the ground, it varies depending on the opponent. I can either go for legs, or I can just be top pressure, heavy smash pass type of game. So it varies on my opponent. I like that you don't have to worry about what position you are. If you want to drop for a leg, you're not giving up the points from dropping to your back. I like how you can be more open with your game. You can expect to see a submission within probably the first half of the round.
All right, and this is the final super fight of the day. This is a submission-only rule set. Mike Raction representing Renzo Gracie Academy, New York City. Sergio Aviles representing North Jersey MMA. Both these guys very active competitors in their local scene. Raction has 4 years of jiu-jitsu experience. Sergio Aviles with 5 years experience. Raction also has a background in wrestling. This is actually the second time that these guys have met. Previously, Aviles got the win, so Raction is here looking for some redemption today. Should be a good match. Mike Raction, a full-time accountant and a self-proclaimed Jean-Claude Van Damme enthusiast. That's great. He's got a lot of IBJJF experience, New York Open gold medalist, Grappling Industries gold medalist. Sergio Aviles, Kasai Pro 2 participant, Grappling Industries Absolute No-Gi champion. Show the Art Finishers 210-pound open winner. Also participated in Kasai Pro 5. This looks like he's got a tall, relaxed style. Laying heavy on the head of Raction. Raction in with a single here. The snatch single is one of Mike Raction's favorite takedowns. Let's see if he can close this out. Sergio Aviles keeping a very relaxed, loose approach to this match. Mike Raction, a student of John Danaher, so once this goes to the ground, we'll probably be looking to see some leg lock attempts. Aviles attempting a Harai Goshi. Raction keeping active with his feet, preventing that from happening, using a nice grip on their wrist here. Sergio Aviles' favorite submission is a knee bar. So again, once this goes to the ground, we will be looking to most likely see a leg lock exchange between these guys. Raction again in on a single. Aviles using that height to lay heavily on the head of Raction. Looks like he's trying to wear him out by just being loose and heavy. Trying to kind of blanket Raction with his weight. Raction doing a good job of getting in tight and trying to get inside on the tall guy. Some long, lanky people can be some of the toughest people to deal with, whether you're in all martial arts, whether you're striking or whether you're grappling. It can be a challenge. Aviles looking for an arm drag, switches over to a front headlock, and we are on the ground now. So, side turtle position. Raction almost rolled him over there for a second, I thought, but it looks like Aviles was able to keep his hips active, keep his weight over the center line. And can possibly creep across to the full mount position. And this is submission-only rules, so it's open season on the legs, no points. Standard submission-only rule set. And Aviles has now accomplished the full mount position. Raction trying to keep his elbows tight. Aviles trying to walk his elbows up. Bridging with the hips, trying to get him off center. And Aviles now has found the wrist around the back of the head for the gift wrap position. Let's see if he can keep this. And almost has him flattened out for a moment. Now he's on the back. Inside tie with the right hand, preventing the right arm of Mike to fight with him. Aviles looks like he's kind of going back and forth between thinking about attacking that arm or the neck. Keeping Raction active in his defense. These long legs, I'm looking to see whether Aviles uses the legs to trap an arm of Raction from this position. They're just like that. That's exactly what I was envisioning. Let's see if he can move this forward to an armbar. It looks like he's threatening an armbar. Raction's being nice and active, and there it is over the face. Spiderweb position for Aviles. Biting heavy on the head, and that is full extension. Submission for Sergio Aviles via armbar. Excellent performance. Let's take a look at that again. Here we see Aviles hooking up the gift wrap position, using it to get to the full back. Almost flattens him out, but Raction was active with his hips, prevented himself from getting flattened out, but still was unable to shuck Sergio off of his back. Sergio looking for the armbar there, but couldn't find the space. Raction was doing a good job of keeping his head low, but he comes back again for the second time and gets right underneath the chin. Bites down heavy with that left hand to keep the head arched back, making it just impossible to hang on to the hands at that point for Mike Raction. Great match by these guys and an excellent submission finish by Sergio Aviles. And we have now reached the championship match. This is the final for the King of 175 Championship, the premier Yagadome Invitational event. Brett Pastore, Steven Ramos, both these guys representing the state of New York. And here we go. Steven Ramos, Brett Pastore, both these guys representing the state of New York. Ramos representing Essential Jiu-Jitsu. Brett Pastore, Animals MMA in Yonkers. Both these guys have showed some great wrestling ability all day today, and it's come down to this match. Who will be the king of 175? Fireman carry attempt from Pastore. Ramos sprawls. Ramos working his way around towards the back now. Keeping a tight seatbelt control. Beautiful insertion of the first hook, and now he's got the second hook in as well. That's going to be a 1-point score for position. Ramos has excellent back control here, and now it's even better. He's switched to a body triangle as well. This is getting bad for Pastore. He's going to have to really work to get out of this position here. Ramos swimming hard for the throat. Pastore trying to lock down that left hand with his left arm. Steven Ramos has now freed the hand. It's a full bite on the rear naked choke with the body triangle applied, and that's a submission. Steven Ramos is the 175-pound king of Yagadome. Not only the first 175-pound champion, but the first Yagadome champion ever. Steven Ramos, representing Essential Jiu-Jitsu, is your 175-pound Yagadome champion. Outstanding performance by Brett Pastore. We look forward to seeing him come back and competing again. But today, the glory belongs to Steven Ramos. And the new champion being given the belt by FICW President Ivailo Ivanov, promoter of Yagadome, and also the world president of combat wrestling. Steven Ramos brings home the strap for 175 back home to Essential Jiu-Jitsu. Well, ladies and gentlemen, that concludes this event. I hope you guys enjoyed it. I certainly had a great time commentating for you. We appreciate all the athletes that came out. We appreciate all the people that made this event possible as well. Keep your eyes peeled because this is only the first Yagadome event of many more to come. We'd like to thank our host, Kulikov Grappling Academy in Hewitt, New Jersey. You can check them out at sambofusion.com. Also, MI Sports. They offer gis, rash guards, shorts, shirts, belts, and more. You can check them out at misports.jp. This event was also brought to you by Primal Gear Athletic Apparel. They offer rash guards, shorts, patches, stickers, and more, all designed with the grappler in mind. Check them out at goprimalgear.com. And once again, I'm Ryan Ford. It was a pleasure commentating the action for you guys today. You can follow my show, the Grappling Central Podcast, on iTunes, Google Play, Stitcher, iHeartRadio, Pandora, and anywhere else podcasts are enjoyed. You can also check out my website, grapplingcentral.com. And that's all for now, everybody. See you at the next Yagadome Invitational.